Hello, my friends. I'm so glad you're able to be here with me today. I want to continue my experiences after I got married. My husband and I put little thought into our 4 young children we brought into the marriage. I had 2 sons, Scott Richard and Brad Michael, and my husband had 2 daughters, Kimberly Jean and Melissa Mary. We never even considered their feelings. We were so involved with just ourselves and our wedding and our future. We didn't even think of these poor little children. I'm telling you right now, people, do not do this. If you do, you are asking for problems. We threw these children in new relationships and a new environment without even taking time to prepare them. We were like we were in a whirlwind. We just had to hurry and get married and start our lives together. When it is a second marriage, you have a lot to consider, especially if there are young children involved. There we were, 2 separate families, having raised them by completely different rules, trying to set up a household that met everyone's needs. This was the most difficult thing I had ever done in my life. I ended up breaking out in hives every day for 1 year. We also had the problems of the influences from our ex, from parents, from work problems. Little by little, I pushed the Lord out of my life. I was busy solving my own problems, and there were many. I took no time for God. I didn't pray. I didn't spend time alone with Him. I pushed God in a corner. My problems became my world. I allowed the world to swallow me up in its difficulties and troubles. I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't want it to happen. It just did. I asked the Lord once why I felt so empty, and He told me I allowed my problems to come between me and Him. I didn't know how not to allow my problems to consume me. Years went by, and my husband and I had 2 beautiful sons, Jacob Ulrich Isaiah and Nathan Patrick Ian. And then later we had a son we named Ronnie after my husband. This made me with 5 sons and no daughters. All of my life I had dreamed of having a daughter, a girl. But at this time I decided I better not have any more children. So between Nathan and Ronnie's birth, I started going to college to become an occupational therapist. I made straight A's. Everybody praised me for my goals and encouraged me. It was important to me, too important. God spoke and said, "You are putting your college above your family and me." I knew that God was right. Why did God always have to be right? I continued enrolling in classes and studying harder than ever, making straight A's. Months later, God said the same thing. He said, "You're putting your college above your family and me." I agreed again, but I didn't have time to talk with God. I was on my way to take a very important test. The 3rd time God spoke, He sounded a little harsher. So I decided I better, reason with God. I said, "But God, look how much I'm going to help little children." And God said, "Don't you realize I can do in seconds what would take you a lifetime to do. I did know that. I had seen God's miracles. I had seen God in action. I had seen his power. But I wanted to wear my white medical coat and continue having credit and recognition for my hard work. So I continued enrolling. I was getting even closer to graduation, and then I started having medical problems. My 2-year-old son scratched the cornea of my eye. That was the most painful thing I had ever experienced besides childbirth. And then I had another medical problem that sent me to the hospital. I had asked my doctor if it could wait till the next day, and he said that within 3 hours you will be dead. So, of course, I went straight to the hospital and I had surgery. I realized at this time I needed my God. I had pushed him aside. I didn't spend any time with him. How could I have neglected him all of these years? Upon whispering his name, he was beside me. He was leading me. He was comforting me. He was right there with me. You know, Jesus had to leave the crowds to seek time alone. We must be alone with the Lord. We must take time every single day. It is not just important, it is vital. During this time, I became pregnant and had a beautiful baby girl I named Emily Gabrielle Otilia. Now, I want all of you to know that God has a very good sense of humor. My mother-in-law, my current mother-in-law, and I did not like each other. She, to me, was one of the most evil people I had ever met. And my stepdaughter, Melissa, was born on her birthday, January 6th. And when people would talk about it, I would always say, well, that's a good thing because it'll be a cold day in hell before I ever have a child on her birthday. Well, I had an emergency with my daughter and had to have her 5 weeks early. Emergency C-section. After her birth, I look up at the nurse and I say, what day is it? And she said, it's January 6th. I also want y'all to know it was January 6, 1988, and it happened to be the coldest day Oklahoma had ever had. So, in essence, it was a cold day in hell when I had my baby girl. I told God after I found out it was January 6th that I knew he was laughing. I knew that he got a kick out of this happening. I want you to know God has such a sense of humor. If you have never heard the laughter of God, seek time alone in his presence. Ask him that you want to hear his laughter. It's just awesome. Everybody thinks God is uptight and very rigid and strict. Actually, God has a fantastic sense of humor. How could he not when he has so many children? I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I hope that you can come back to the next video. I want all of you to know I appreciate each and every one of you more than you really would ever know. And I want you to have some fun today. I want you to have some laughter. So I will see you next time. Thank you.